Hi, I'm Jason Jasperson. Welcome to my studio. I've been invited to develop artwork for the Wells Worship Conference. That's a large gathering of Wisconsin Synod Lutheran worship planners. It takes place in Kenosha, Wisconsin at Carthage College. What we're doing is making original artwork for 7 different worship services. I'm working with college students and other young artists, mostly students from Bethany Lutheran College, and we're developing this artwork and executing it and really trying to use our time wisely to meet our deadline to install those artworks for the worship conference in late July. The art service is a collection of talented young artists that I've kind of handpicked from studio art majors at Bethany College. For the most part. It's sort of a fluid membership, and the concept is based on apprenticeship. It's based on the medieval idea of how artists were trained in the Middle Ages and the Renaissance. The idea there is that you don't necessarily have to learn all the theories, have all different. You don't necessarily have to have a curriculum laid out for you to become a great artist. I believe you need to be exposed to opportunities, to attitudes, and what you need most is real experience. So the idea behind the art service is to provide access for young artists to professional level projects, to authorize the voices of different people in the same project.
I think Jason has given me an opportunity to voice myself as an artist through jobs and of course through like projects and assignments in classes and stuff like that. I'm given these outlets to communicate things that I think are important, like through this this project for the Wells Worship Conference, and through so many other liturgical artworks that I've been able to get my hands on.
Working on a timeline means that we have to be organized. We have to make sure that we're thinking ahead about the kinds of requirements that each project needs. For example, what kind of materials will we need? What will be the steps in our process? What could go wrong? Do we need to prototype? Do we need to explore our options? And at some point we need to make decisions and get it done. So I have one person who's dedicated to project management. She just helps us stay on task, helps us know what we need to be doing right now. She's got a broad overview. She also helps us make sure that we have the supplies that we need and organizes events that gives us a big push towards completion.
Working with my peers is awesome because they are very motivated and they get everything done that I ask them to. So they're very passionate about their work. And so I don't have to do much except maybe give them a due date, send them emails about what they need to know, and then they'll get it done, and they get it done and exceed my expectations every time. So that's very exciting.
Well, there are challenges associated with a complex set of projects like this. But it's not my first time working on sort of long-range collaborative projects. When I was teaching in the high school at Minnesota Valley Lutheran, I would do art club projects. Every semester, we would develop a large mural for the concert. And different kinds of commissions that I've done have involved, bringing in assistants that are helpful for me, and I think I can provide a transformative experience for them. I can provide access for them to a project that they wouldn't usually be able to work on. When you're working with different people, you have to let go a little bit. You have to compromise maybe a little of your vision and allow them to express what they would do, express their vision, their particular take, their style. And I think a younger version of me would not have been ready for that. I think back to myself in college, and I was more of a purist about, like, my work is my work. And it should always be my hand, it should always be my style, I should control every aspect of it. And I've turned a corner in my attitude. I realize that if we work together, bigger things can be done, more complex things can be done. I'm really inspired by the way the medieval world built cathedrals that are seemingly impossible today in our mindset. I'm curious about how the mindset can accomplish different things.
The art service was a project that started after my freshman year of college. Over that summer, I was working with Jason on the military monument that's ended up at Bethany, and I was also working with a bunch of other Wells artists on an illustration project. And that summer, Jason started to have this idea of, what if we had young Lutheran artists that could all work on church commissions and like synod artwork together collaboratively. And so I was on board with that idea right away, and it started to really, really take form my sophomore year at Bethany Lutheran College. So I was working on commissions that Jason was getting from churches, and the summer after my sophomore year is when this place started to come together, where we came down here and saw this space, and it was gifted to Jason, and Jason started putting it together. And now this summer, it's really, really starting to come together. And the art service has moved a lot of its efforts here.
Adding people means adding considerations. We have to do some extra planning at the beginning. We need to think about what are the strengths of the different artists who are involved. I try to authorize my artists to assert their style in design and in execution. So early on, we had kind of a conceptual phase for these projects, where different artists were pitching their ideas for what kind of solutions should we have for each service. Now, having different people involved means that maybe the ideas wouldn't be what I would do. But I kind of love that. I love being surprised. I love the idea of sort of enabling somebody to say something new, something from their voice. And I'm able to let go a little bit of the idea of a unified style. Luckily, we have different events. So within each worship service, that's the moment that we need to have kind of a unified front. And then when we go to a different project, well then, it can change. We can have a different sort of look for, say, that episode.
Being outdoors and absorbing all of these elements of nature as a kid and as a teenager has completely informed my art and my artistic development. I like drawing animals so much more than anything else. That's what I focus on a lot. So when I'm diving into concepts that I want to explore, I'm almost always trying to communicate them through the imagery of animals and of nature, and like these scenes of organic and natural grandeur that's just so fantastic and so amazing. I don't think that feeling can be properly reined in, but I try. I try. And I think being outside and experiencing nature and seeing all of these fantastic, wonderful things that God has created drives my art. It doesn't just inform it. It keeps me going a lot.
Working with people who have such an amazing amount of energy and good energy has really helped me take my art more seriously and also take this project more seriously and have fun with it at the same time and realize that you can have fun and do awesome work at the same time. So, as the art manager, you're not in a bad way at all, but kind of the person working in the background. And the story is about the paintings. So, kind of like how Lord of the Rings is about Frodo, there's that person working in the background to make it all work, and that's Samwise Gamgee. And I hope to be Samwise by scheduling things properly, making sure everything goes smoothly, and making sure that we can actually accomplish these paintings.
Yeah, as time goes on with this project, there's sort of a natural editing that's happening of the ideas. We start out with very grand, ambitious concepts. And then, we try things out, or some things just don't gain momentum for who knows what reason. And, it's all fine. We're just going to keep on going, and what happens, happens, and then everything is sort of an audition for the next time. There are a few images that, over the years, people have really resonated with from my portfolio. And, I never know when that's going to happen. I'm constantly making things, and sometimes something that I make really hits with people. It's not always the one that I think is going to be great. Sometimes I'm surprised by how people react. But I now have the benefit of decades of production and sort of seeing what people resonate with. So, for a big event like this, that's a fast solution for us. We know that this one probably is going to do well. So for for example, we're going to do Agnus Dei, this victorious little lamb. We take kind of a hero's perspective of this little lamb, a low camera angle looking up at it. It's sort of a dual image. It's a vulnerable little creature that's standing in sort of a hero pose. And we're also taking Christus Paradox, this close-up face of Jesus that emphasizes his dual nature, his humiliation and glorification, all in one image. The idea of that and the image of that has really worked for people. We're also taking Calming the Storm and sort of amplifying it. It was a black and white image, and we're going to make that a bright, colorful image.
When I was young, I wasn't absorbing much art outside of myself. I mean, there was like Calvin and Hobbes, and that was kind of about it. I mean, I would read books, and there would be illustration for books. But I would say a lot of the art that I was seeing was stuff that was coming out of my own brain and out of my own hands. So as a kid, I wasn't like, this is my favorite artist. I wasn't in tune with that kind of thinking. And I've learned a lot more about artists that I can look up to, mostly in college. So there's not a ton that I had to inform my artistic development as a kid. But some of my favorite art pieces these days, I adore the fantastic compositions of Joseph Christian Leyendecker. He is a 20th century illustrator, and he does just fantastic things. His shapes and his compositions just sing. And I really like looking at that because composition is a whole cool thing that I've started to dive into in my art, is figuring out how to arrange elements in such a visually pleasing way. So I adore his art.
We've been working on these projects in different locations well, by the time we're done, it'll be about 6 months, 6 or 7 months. We start at Bethany Lutheran College in the art studios and kind of rearrange those studios and try to figure out where we can host different locations. And then since the school year ended in the spring, we've moved our operations to New Ulm in the basement of Sweet Haven Tonics. We have the blessing of broad open space here that we can lay out our canvases and work on multiple projects at the same time. I also have some projects going at my home studio, so we're finding the need for a lot of space and kind of maxing out what's available. I've realized in middle age that my role changes. It used to be that metaphorically, you know, I was trying to show my moves at the dance party, trying to show what I could do, figure out what I could do, and then like show off, you know. And that's appropriate. That's what the job is when you're growing up. Who are you? What do you have to say? But I've learned that you have to change as you grow older, and sort of fade away from the limelight, fade away from the center of attention, and your role becomes more and more to enable other people to figure out what they can do, what they have to say, especially younger people when they're in that time of life. So I'm leaning into that role where I'm more of a mentor, I'm more of a guide, and if we're in the dance party kind of metaphor, I'm just happy to be around shoulder to shoulder, you know, at this party and watching other people, celebrating other people. So, you know, when I'm working with young artists, it's really just fun to authorize them to explore, to figure out what they are capable of, and I like to encourage young people to think about their gifts in terms of stewardship. I like them to think that, you know, maybe you can make it grow. You can invest your talent, make it grow, figure out what you're really good at or what you're really interested in. Both of those things work. Either way works. You can figure out what you're good at, you can figure out what you're interested in, and just dive into those things. And I hope that the effect of it is that these become professional artists who have a good shot at being good stewards of their gifts.